make yourself comfortable. And so being comfortable is all about shifting your awareness. It is all about changing the mind or taking over the mind by an intellect. That is an instruction for you. So what we do, we just look mentally at the neck joint, feel it. When you feel, you have an experience. That experience is sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Move the mind or look or feel the shoulder joints. Be there. Feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Move the mind on the entire body. You simply move the mind. Start visualizing your body from the top of the head to your eyes, face, nose, rib cage, hands, arms, and the legs and the belly. So when you move the mind, you are changing the pattern of the mind, and that gives you a sense of sensation, relaxation, and steadiness. Now in that state, we will be doing the rib cage breathing, that is quick, short breathing. So what is going to happen after 30 seconds? You will start maybe experiencing some instant changes inside and outside the head. A new sensation will surge. We need not to do anything. No worries. Do not worry about it. You have to follow that practice minimum. Today we are going to do it for 2 minutes. So you are comfortable. You are looking at the breath. Now look inside the forehead. In that awareness of the body and the breath, start breathing through both the nostrils into the chest. As you inhale, the chest expands. As you exhale, the chest contracts. Continue. Do not stop in the middle. You may have a variety of experiences, and I'm sure whatever will happen will be good. Continue quick and short breath through both the nostrils into the ribs. You inhale and expand your ribs. You exhale and contract your ribs. And stop it. Do nothing. Become aware of the changes, change in the sensation. No movement in the body at all. With these sensations, now start inhaling deep, silent and slow. First you inhale into the belly. Then you inhale into the rib cage, and while exhaling, lips remain together. Make the humming sound louder, deeper, and longer. Again, take your time to inhale deep, silent and slow, first into the belly, then into the rib cage. While breathing out, make the humming sound. The breath is coming out through the nostrils, not through the lip, not through the mouth. Do not forget to take a deep, silent and slow breath, and also while making the humming sound, it is longer, deeper and the louder. Continue. And now stop it, do nothing, remain as you are. We are raising the awareness. When you raise your awareness, the mind drops, dictating over the intellect. You have a sense of the calmness, but we will revisit this calmness. Look at the head and the neck. Look at your head and the neck and feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the right arm. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the left arm. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the chest and the belly. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the belly. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the right leg. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the left leg. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the entire body. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Say in your mind with emotion and feeling. What is you have to say? I resolve to discover inner peace and happiness so that I need not to depend on anything outside. So you just play with this sentence. I resolve to discover inner peace and happiness so that I need not to depend on anything outside. So that anything, your mind goes there. So we are simply saying need not to depend on anything. One more time. I resolve to discover inner peace and happiness so that I need not to depend on anything outside. Now looking at the breath, when you look at the breath, mentally say Shantoham. So when you say Shantoham means I am the peace. When the breath comes out, you say Shantoham and see the space inside and outside. Inside and outside. Shantuham. Shantuham. In the very beginning, first few days, you may feel like sleepy. It is okay. Sleepy or a kind of laziness, but as you continue the practice, that laziness will replace calmness, peace, and relaxation. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it in your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Looking into the dark space, ask yourself how do you feel, and then bring the hands down. Now slowly bring the hands down. How do you feel now? I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Calm and relaxed.
Calm and relaxed. That's really good. Can you see that if it is possible, if you do this practice, it takes hardly 10 or 15 minutes. And if you are doing this practice regularly, repeatedly. So when I say regularly and repeatedly, there comes our topic of discussion today. You know, we teachers in the Eastern wisdom, we have more than 3,000 texts which explains the principles about the mind and the intellect and the consciousness. And we have more than 3,000 teachers in this tradition of 10,000 years old. So we have almost everything in our knowledge box, provided a person is a seeker. So when who is a seeker? Who is committed to change oneself. How long you are going to complain to yourself, I cannot get rid of this, I have this problem, I have a sense of anxiety. How long you are going to do that? Is this the way of living? Who is saying no? It is your intellect. But the mind does not listen. Mind says, mind, just goes down and it says, okay, intellect, you continue. I will teach you a lesson once the session is gone. Once the session is gone, your mind will push you to go to the same thing. Or maybe your mind may be waiting for it. No, I feel so fresh. Let me take it again. You see that? So we teachers, I learned everything from my teachers, living with him for 26 years. So only one thing, your commitment is required. A sincerity is required. So when you are sincere to make your life better, that is what we are asking. We are not asking that you follow us blindly. You have every right to ask a question, raise a doubt, and remove that doubt. So we always teach with the patience and compassion and the wisdom and the kindness. Even if you do not understand in one way, we follow the other way. That's why I told you we have more than 3,000 texts and masters. So now coming to the mind. So I told you that when we say mind, normally we use the mind for four aspects. Mind for four aspects: mind and memory, intellect and ego. Ego means the I thought. So mind means simple thinking. Unwanted thoughts and feeling enters into the mind. And when those thoughts associated with the feeling and emotions, it causes the anxiety. It causes sometimes the sense of pleasure. But they have their basis mostly on the memory. And what is memory? Memory is again a thought, an idea, and the experiences and the impressions. You cook something and you feel near the gas stove there is a heat. It is hot. So the mind gathers that impressions of heat so that we are careful in cooking something. That is what the mind is. The mind always gathers the impression. So for example, you eat pasta and the mind gathers the impression of pleasure. Second time you eat, you also get the pleasure. So the mind keeps on thinking about that pleasure moment eating the pasta, and if it keeps on thinking, we set a preference. Oh, I like pasta. Same thing happens with the drug also. So here, in the first instant, pasta and the drug are the same because I simply perceive. I look at it. But when there is a pleasure, either in the pasta or the drug, then what happens? We get a sense of pleasure, and that pleasurable experiences accumulates in the mind, and then we start thinking, and there comes the I thought. I thought says, I have a pleasure. I have a pleasure seeking this thing. Now take an example of the pasta. Think in terms of the pasta, is that what you are taking? So it's better to have a good conversation. Now, if the pasta gives you the pleasure, we need to examine. How we examine? By cause and effect relationship. Who understands the cause and relationship? It is the intellect. So let us go for it. So just take it that you like pasta, it gives you a pleasure. Right? So I offer you the second plate of pasta. And you say, okay, I can take it because I like it, it gives me the pleasure. You finish it and then I give you the third plate of pasta. Because you are enjoying it, you have a pleasure eating the pasta. And anyhow, you eat the third plate also. Now I offer you the fourth plate. What happens to your mind? I don't want to eat. No, you told me that it gives you a pleasure. Eat it. So you have more pleasure. what it proves? It proves that the pasta does not contain a pleasure. It is my imagination. It is my hallucinations. Just think of it. So it is my, because whenever I give a session, I give a session spontaneously. So I know what you heard me last time, it is different. So now you see, after you cannot eat fourth plate of the pasta, but on the other side, that I thought says I get a pleasure from eating pasta. So it means you don't like pasta, or the pleasure is not there in the pasta. The same way, my friend, nothing in the world, whether it is any object, whether it is any person, whether it is any situation, contain the happiness or the pleasure. Nothing in the world. If one says, I get pleasure drinking a coffee, so if there is a pleasure in the coffee, everyone will drink coffee, they will leave the other drinks. It is not. So someone likes soda, others like wine, fourth like tea, fifth like hard drink, sixth one like vodka. Why? Because it is because of the imagination. My mind imagines the pleasure is there, and then the I thought returns. I thought says have it. So one have a drink, one have a cup of coffee, other have a pasta, third have a tea, fourth have a soda, fifth have a vodka. It is based on their mind. Nothing in the world contains the pleasure. Nothing. Tell me if it is. Examine it. No, don't believe me. I told you. We are not preaching, we are learning. Preaching means, just believe me. Don't question. And teaching is that you question, you raise your doubt. So when you remove your doubt, then the intellect becomes active. Think of it. And in the next session, you tell me anything, any object, any person gives you the pleasure. Anything. I know what is going on in your mind. Sometime I read it, so don't worry about it. So next time you have to think about it. So I thought plus imagination plus any object results into imagination, and that imagined pleasure we get. And if the imagined pleasure takes over our behavior and attitude, it results into addiction. That is addiction. So addiction lives in the mind, but still the intellect says this is not good. Is your intellect says that it is not good, what I am doing? Yes. We all are human beings. We all have an intellect. It says it is not good. So last time we discussed that the intellect has a willpower. How many times your intellect said, from today I'm going to leave it, and that today has never come. Are you feeling sleepy? Are you feeling sleepy? Huh?
Yeah, the practice got me sleepy.
Yeah, that is also the mind. The mind is dictating over the intellect. It says, no, don't listen to this weird guy.
I'm listening.
Yeah, listening. You are paying attention?
Yeah.
Yes. So the intellect has a willpower, And that intellect works if the mind is not dictating over the intellect. How come? You just went out to take your daughters from the school. So there the intellect is working, that whether you have to drive on the right hand side or the left hand side, you have to drop it, you have to stop at this school, you have to wait for the daughters, and they open the door, they close the door, and now you have to start driving. The intellect is working free. It is known as working with the free will. There is no objection and a reaction by the mind. But if there is an objection and reaction by the mind, then you will drive, instead of right hand side, you will drive left hand side. Sometimes we are anxious, so our driving is changes. That is coming from the mind. So now the next question comes. Is that why the willpower does not work? Because the mind is dictating over the intellect. So another question comes, that what exactly, how the mind works? Mind works with the past memory, with imagined pleasure or pain, with the impulses, and it lives more or less at the habitual and unconscious level. There is a trigger in your mind. The trigger converts into a thought, and thought pulls your body outside, and then you start. That I don't want to say. So that is the nature of the mind. So every time it hijacks the intellect. So the willpower does not work until the mind is purified. I use the word mind is purified. Means, what do you mean by purification of the mind? That the mind does not work through the impulses, it does not take over the intellect. You have both. You have intellect and you have the mind. So there I discussed last time that we have to listen to it, listen the lesson again and again, and followed by the contemplation and reflection. You have to challenge after listening what I have been teaching you. You have to challenge what I have said. We have to challenge in your mind, is this guy telling me the truth or not? You have to question it in your mind. So when you question, that is the process of contemplation and reflection. So what happens? When you start the contemplation, your intellect becomes active. And when the intellect becomes active, it keeps your mind at bay. And then you do the practice, you move into the calmness and the relaxation. So at least there is no thought which can trigger you and force you to do the same thing repeatedly. So how to retrieve the willpower at the highest level? One, how to move into the state of the calmness and the peace when the mind is looking outside for a thing to get the pleasure. It is the best thing to do the practice first and then listen to the talk, understanding the mind and the intellect. And what will happen if you are repeating the practice as many times as possible? As many times as possible every day, what is going to happen? You are weakening the mind. Means you are changing the impulsive nature of the mind. Means what? You are purifying the mind. When you are able to purify the mind, then the intellect works with the free will. Now there is no impression that can dictate over the intellect. and then you have a free will. No, I will stay here. I will do the practice. Let me move into the peace. Let me move into the state of calmness and joy by the practice. So you don't have any withdrawal symptom also. Now it depends on you. You have done regular practice. The time will come when you have an urge to again go for it, and your intellect says, let us do the practice. You remember, you do the practice. So you get rid of the withdrawal symptoms also. The withdrawal symptoms and the mind has a deep connection to each other. You don't have any withdrawal symptoms in the deep sleep because the mind is not there. When you fall into deep sleep, there is no withdrawal symptom. So you cannot say that, I have withdrawal symptom, that's why I am not able to leave. In the waking state, those withdrawal symptom pushes the mind. And that is the right time to do the practice and listen to it. So the intellect means clarity, intellect means understanding, intellect means the knowledge, mind means the impulsive nature, mind means the habitual nature, mind means anything of the addictive nature. Mind mostly forces us to work habitually. Anger, for example. Take an example. Do you become angry? Really? Become angry now.
Yeah.
It is the intellect. It is the awareness. When the intellect dominates over the mind, you cannot become angry. It is this. You just said, I cannot become angry at this time. Because you are aware, you are attentive, the intellect is working. And sometimes we are angry, and then you repent on it. No, I'm sorry, I just became angry. But that anger comes from the mind. Because it happens, So what happens? Including the anxiety, anger, the anxiety, and being upset, comes when I'm not aware. Or maybe you can put into your calendar that I will be angry tomorrow at 10 a.m. You cannot become angry at tomorrow 10. Because it is the intellect has set an agenda. And the moment the 10 a.m. comes, you have a smile on your face. No, I can't become angry. So anger happens, anxiety happens, the duality happens, the conflict happens in our life. Why? Because the mind has acquired this nature in our life. Maybe because of upbringing, there are a lot of answers. Maybe because of our parents, maybe because of our hard and tough life in our past, maybe because of the reactive responses we have given to the people outside, maybe because we have acquired a negative attitude and a habit. There are many reasons. We are not going there at this time. Second example I gave of your anger. You cannot become angry now because your intellect is active and you are aware. So if we are aware our intellect is active, even those people who have a habit of anger, they cannot become angry. Same way, you cannot have those withdrawal symptoms take over you. If I'm wrong, tell me. You have to practice, you have to experiment on this. So again, understand the intellect means the knowledge, Intellect means an understanding. Intellect means the clarity. Intellect means no confusion. You know where your daughter's school is located, so you can drive easily there. But if you don't know, then there comes the confusion. So the confusion and the conflict lives in the mind. It is impulsive. It is instinctive. It is habitual. It is repetitive. And there comes the role of this I thought. So what the I thought says, I feel and urge. So you have an I thought. And mind says, I'm ready. Why the intellect is not ready? Why intellect is not ready? The mind has already covered the intellect. It does not think. So whatever the thought of impulses, anger, hesitation, and habit comes to our mind by overshadowing the intellect, I stop thinking. It is a state of non-thinking. And that state of non-thinking, push your body, go outside, take one puff, come back. So we say in Eastern wisdom that the mind is of two types, impure and the pure mind. So now we have to define and understand what is impure mind and what is pure mind. So impure mind has two factors which causes the impurity. The first factor is the desire. Desire is a thought. And second is thought plus imagination. So that becomes an imagined thought. Thought, any thought. Desire means any thought, seeking something outside. Desire to have a cup of tea, desire to have a cup of coffee, desire to have the pasta, etc. Any thought, any. So when we explain the desire, desire means any thought where there is an I thought that is seeking something from the world outside. I may have a desire to own the car, I may have a desire to drink a cup of tea, etc. It's a long list. Are you listening to me? Are you paying attention? Very good. So desire of seeking something. Now I desire to go to the kitchen and grab a cup of tea. There is no problem. You just go there and take it. Or desire to take a shower. You go there and take a shower and come back. There is no problem. It does not have any conflict. Desire to drive your car to the daughter's school and return. There is no problem. Yeah? Because in these thoughts we are not seeking imagined pleasure. Are you getting it? So now I want a cup of tea to relax myself. That is the problem. Because the relaxation is not in the tea. So this thought, this desire with an imagined relaxation, or any thought with an imagined pleasure in any object outside. No, I go to the restroom, go to the kitchen, go to the bedroom, drive my car, go there, let me cook. It is also a desire. But it is not looking after the pleasure or happiness in that. It's just a casual work. But When the mind has a thought seeking something outside for peace, for pleasure, that is the problem. Why? Why there is a problem? The peace and happiness is not outside. Peace and happiness are within you. Your mind may be saying, no, I experience the pleasure in that object. No, it is not there. It is not there. Otherwise, everyone should have been taking the same object. Everyone. There will be a booming industry. There is no need to take drink or vodka or etc. It will be everywhere. It is available. So it is an imagined pleasure. So any thought having an imagined pleasure from any object is the problem. It dictates over mind. It dictates over the intellect. It covers the intellect. We stop the thinking. We stop the thinking, then we have those withdrawal symptoms. Then the mind associates it with, it will create. Sometime I have seen many people, I have helped them to become free. They realize much later that, what, the headache I was feeling, it was an imagined headache. There was no headache at all. So how they realized? They did the same practice which I gave you, and they did the practice 3 times, and then they said, oh, my headache is gone. So I related my headache to that object. That is what you say the withdrawal symptom is. Or maybe a headache or any other symptoms that you are experiencing. So we were understanding the mind are 2 types. One is the impure mind, other is the pure mind. So impure mind has a desire plus an imagined pleasure from an object, from a person, from a situation, from an event, from anything outside, where it is not. Why it is imagined? Because it is not there. How do we understand it is not there? Science says us that there is no blueness in the sky, but still it appears. It appears. The sky appears blue, but the blueness is not there in the sky. Same thing, we are living in Arizona. We see the mirage. We see the water at a far off place. When you approach there is no water. We see the mirage effect. When you are driving the car, you see the road is running behind you. Don't you see that? When you're driving on a highway, you see that, road, the street and the highway is running behind you. The trees are running behind you. No tree is running. No Vahe is running. It is imagined. It is imagined pleasure. If you understand this principle, simply intellect sticks on this, you are free from today. Normally it doesn't happen, so it raises a lot of doubts, and that is what we are going to solve, all those doubts, to have a better and deeper understanding. So step by step we follow the process. So what happens? By step we purify the mind. And what does it mean by purification of the mind? Now the mind says, I get a pleasure from this object, and your intellect becomes active. Intellect says, let me see. And your intellect says, there is no pleasure and happiness outside. It is within you. What happens to that thought? That thought is being killed. It dissolves. So when the thought of getting an urge dissolves, you are free now. So we cannot approach this journey of freedom from these objects by simply the willpower. It doesn't work that way. By repeat listening, by repeat contemplation and reflection, by repeat practice, we get out of it. So I'm sending you the two files. One file is